integrated supply chain sales and customer service solution. And I'm excited to have Melissa Cal here with us today. She's the sales executive for ShipGear and StarShip. We also have Caroline Walsh, VP of Marketing and Sales for ShipGear and StarShip. And David Fay, he's the CEO of Fay Business Systems Group. And Fay has a lot of integrations that they've created for SugarCRM, which we're going to go into. And one being the QuickBooks SugarCRM integration. So with that said, V Technologies has been developing shipping solutions since 1989, and they have 13 plus years of extensive knowledge with QuickBooks and also many of the mid-market ERP systems out there. They have established relationships with carriers, and they just know how to answer your questions when it comes to any type of shipping software integrated solution. And they can really grow with you because of their relationships with other mid-market ERP solutions. Once you find yourself in a place where maybe QuickBooks might not be addressing your needs because you're outgrowing QuickBooks, maybe the database is too full or what have you, if you do go with one of their integrated shipping solutions, then those will integrate most likely with the new ERP system that you select. So if you do choose one of their shipping automation solutions, then chances are that will grow with you. Fay Business Systems is a longtime SugarCRM and Sage Platinum partner. For years, David Fay has been developing software integrations and enhancements for all the Sage products, and he's a platinum partner of SugarCRM. The Fay Business Systems Group has grown extensively over the years. I've watched them really succeed when it comes to the integrations and development with many different ERP packages. So I'm going to go ahead and let David talk to the SugarCRM details. David?
Great, thanks, Adrian. Great to be part of the webinar today. Just some quick things about Sugar for some of you that may not be familiar with Sugar, or even for those of you who are familiar with Sugar. Sugar's been around for a little over 10 years. They're actually the fastest growing CRM software company in the world. They're located up in Northern California, and they're actually the largest pure play provider of CRM software. And pure play means CRM software is all that they do. You know, I'm sure we're all familiar with a lot of other CRM software makers, but a lot of those companies do a lot of different things. Sugar is focused 100% on their CRM software, and that's one of the reasons why they've been able to grow so quickly and be so successful. They've won a lot of awards over the years, especially over the last couple of years, from some fairly prominent people, Forrester and Gartner and things like that. And so it's really a hot product, and it's exciting to be a part of it. Just quickly, some of the key things that make Sugar a great choice, maybe over some of the other options out there. Number one, you know, the cost of ownership is really reasonable. It's very reasonably priced, especially compared to some of the alternatives. The deployment choice is especially powerful. That's one of the things we like best about Sugar. That means that you can have it hosted at Sugar, you could have it hosted on a server in your building, or you could have it hosted at a server somewhere else. It's your choice. The cost of the software is the same regardless of what you choose. And in addition, you know, you can change your mind. So you can start hosted at Sugar, and you can decide after a year, you know, there's some really compelling reasons why we want to put it on our own server. So you can download everything. Sugar gives you that ability to bring it into your building with no, you know, there's no additional cost for that. It's not hard to get your data. You know, a lot of the companies out there make it hard to get your data, things from the cloud. Sugar is just really easy to download stuff. So they're a really easy company to do business with. In addition, Sugar is highly customizable, and it's customizable in two ways. One is, you know, there's a tool within Sugar that non-programmer types can go in, and that would include me, can go in and move things around screens, add new fields, you know, customize the software to a very large degree. And then at the end of the day, Sugar is what's called an open source software, which means, for purposes of this, that you have access to the source code. So if you download it and put it on your server, you can literally make Sugar do anything you want if you hire a programmer to do that. So it's easy to customize if you're not a programmer, and if you do have programmers, you can do all kinds of other cool stuff. So those are really the biggest reasons for us why Sugar tends to be the CRM software of choice for most of our clients. And I'll kick it over at this point to Caroline to talk a little bit about StarShip.
Thanks, David. So just a little about StarShip. I know that there are at least several people on the line that may be familiar with ShipGear, but StarShip is our other solution. It's our flagship product that V Technologies has been developing for the past 25 years. A couple of things that make StarShip a little different from ShipGear, or maybe similar on the first one. Plug-and-play interfaces. We do offer a QuickBooks integration, a QuickBooks Enterprise integration, where there's default field maps and translations. But we also give you the ability to modify all of the field maps and translations from there. So if you wanted to grab some user-definable fields or set something as a fixed field in StarShip, you could do that. It's multi-carrier, so it does support all the small parcel, big guys, as well as some of the regional carriers, and it's multi-mode, so it also supports LTL. We have over a dozen direct LTL carrier connections, so carriers like UPS Freight, FedEx Freight, Conway, YRC. This allows you to, one, be able to get rates in real time for both your parcel and LTL. It also allows you to then tender transactions directly with the carrier, as well as get things like phone numbers. And all of that information can then be updated in real time to your QuickBooks orders or documents. The StarShip application also allows you to access line items on the QuickBooks order. And these integration to the line items basically used to assist you with creating documents, in the international world, allowing you to quickly and easily create things like commercial invoice, shipper's letter of instruction. Also get integrated packing lists plus shipping labels so that you can have a nice 8.5 by 11 that has both. And then line items are also used for EDI transactions. StarShip's also going to give you the ability to create branded emails. These emails can include information from QuickBooks, which can include the line items if you'd like to provide that to your users to give them even more insight into their shipment, and also allow you to brand your labels. We also have some pretty nice custom rules functionality in StarShip, where StarShip can automatically select the carrier based on your information, can also automatically calculate the freight charges based on your parameters. So if you wanted to provide free freight for orders less than $100, you could do something like that within StarShip. Adrian, hey, can you go back to the other slide? Am I taking too long?
Oh, no, I accidentally clicked. I'm sorry.
That's okay. I thought that was my cue to stop talking. Okay, I only have a couple more left. Rate shopping, we do give you a rate shopping utility, which anybody in the organization can access. It doesn't require any seat licensing. It'll give you the ability to define a shipment and get your rates, which will include your negotiated rates for both parcel and LTL. Also, you'll have a dashboard, which again, similar to the rate shopping utility, allows anybody in your organization to have access to your shipping information, to gain metrics, run reports, and access shipment history and run tracking from there. In addition to all of that, StarShip also has integration to EDI solutions, and in the QuickBooks space, TrueCommerce is probably the most popular one that we work with mutual customers. So StarShip can one, print the 128 label for you as well as the shipping label so that you can put those onto your package up front. And then on the back end, when the shipment is processed, we'll send Transaction Manager the information so that TrueCommerce can then generate the ASN that's going to go out to your trading partner. Okay, Adrian, you can go now.
Perfect. It's my turn. Thank you, Caroline, for all of that. And with all that said, so this is the workflow that we will be showing you today. So this is a picture of a salesperson or customer service person taking an order on their computer. So I just wanted to make it clear that all this person ever needs to see is the CRM interface. All of the calculations and the integration happen on the back end. So these are the back end accounting folks that are going to be seeing QuickBooks or StarShip. The nice thing is that the salesperson or the customer service person only needs to see SugarCRM, and that's the only application they need to be familiar with, which makes a lot of companies happy because, you know, SugarCRM takes the notes that are associated with the customer. It has all of the customer information, callbacks, call schedules, anything to do with service-related items, anything that a customer service person or a salesperson would need to see. And all the other accounting-related stuff is just for the back office. So the salespeople or the customer service people don't take a user license of QuickBooks or StarShip. They don't take any of those resources up. They just use the SugarCRM interface. So here, the salesperson's taking an order, and as you can see, the sales order goes into QuickBooks to process the order, and then the calculations occur over in StarShip to calculate, to shop for the best rates and the carriers and so forth, anything to do with the shipping-related information. And then that information goes back into QuickBooks and processes an invoice and completes the order, and then sends all of the shipping-related information and all of the order-related information back into SugarCRM so that salesperson or customer service person can address the needs of the customer and answer any questions related to inventory on hand or anything like that, all from the SugarCRM interface. So with that said, we're going to go ahead and give the presentation over to David to kick it off with showing SugarCRM.
Great, thanks.
All right, David, you should have the controls.
I do. Hopefully you can all see a Sugar home screen right now. So this is the Sugar home screen, and it's basically a dashboard of all the important information that you would want to see. And the dashboard for any particular user can be customized. So a customer service person can have one dashboard, a sales rep can have a different dashboard, the executives of the business can have their own dashboard. So this happens to be a combination of different things. And so you can see we've got our account list. So if I'm a sales rep, this could be just my own accounts, or it could be all the accounts in the company. And one of the cool things about our integration with QuickBooks is that it brings in all this data from QuickBooks into Sugar, and now you can use that data for dashboard purposes. So you can see here, this is a list of my accounts in year-to-date sales order. So I can see my big customer is Utility Shed with $234,000 in sales this year. Mark Bauman is my second customer. Cafe Q is my third best customer, and so on. Over here, I have a little graph, just of top customers, and again, you can see Utility Shed is the big customer for us. A few other things, and there's other CRM type things that you can use on this dashboard. You can have leads and opportunities and calls to make and things like that. We didn't focus on that for purposes of this demo, but we can certainly show you that kind of stuff if that's some things you want to see. Another dashboard we have here is our open balance customers dashboard, so we can see AD importing company is got the biggest balance, and so on. 360 Vacations is another one. And so again, you can take all the data that comes in from QuickBooks and throw it onto your dashboard, and so when you log in the morning, you can really see where you need to focus. So Before we get into entering a sales order, I'm just going to show you briefly what an account looks like in Sugar. So we're going to look at this account, Cafe Q, right here. And if I were to click on that, it would take me straight to their account screen. And this is Cafe Q, and they're in Canada. So you've got your basic contact information about them, their name, address, phone number, things like that. Over here, you've got what's called the Sugar Intelligence pane, and it has all kinds of other information about Cafe Q. So, for example, you can see a little graph about sales by product. So if you're a sales rep or customer service person and you wanted a quick snapshot of, hey, what are these guys buying? You can see, wow, they bought $17,000 worth of blueprints this year and $3,700 worth of custom cabinets. And this is all data that's coming in from QuickBooks. Down here, we've also got some information on cases. If you're using Sugar for customer service, customer service issue tracking and things like that, we call them cases. And so we can see, hey, here's open cases and closed cases. So I'm going to scroll down the screen here, and we have all kinds of different information about this customer. And so here's a list of all the quotes and sales orders that have been entered for this customer. And you can see there's the date, there's a subject, there's the stage of the order. So you can see this stage, the first one says, hey, it turned into a QuickBooks sales order. The second one says it's on hold. The third one turned into a QuickBooks invoice. The fourth one turned into a QuickBooks estimate, and so on. One of the flexible things about our integration is you can integrate it with any QuickBooks transactions you want. So when you enter an order or a quote in Sugar, it can become any one of these. As we scroll down further, these are all the sales transactions that come back from QuickBooks. So you can see sales orders, invoices, and we'll come back to invoices a little later in the presentation, but you get a full history of all the transactions. You can click on it and see what the line items are and get a lot more detail. Additionally, you get that detailed product sales history. So this is the data that's populating this little graphic over here. We can see we sold 11 blueprints for $17,000. We sold one cabinet for $3,700, and so on. And then lastly, we integrate with QuickBooks shipping addresses. So here's a list of all the shipping addresses that go with this particular customer. So if we were going to go enter a sales order for this customer, I'm going to bring up what's called the quote screen. And Sugar uses the word quotes, but it can be quotes or orders. Now, there's two different ways that you can enter in a sales order. One is you can enter it from scratch, but the other way, which is my favorite way, is you can just duplicate an existing order. So if you look at all these, you can see, okay, here's the order number, here's the subject of the order, here's who the customer is, and here's the status of the order. And so what I want to do is, let's call up this one that's called a cat collar order for the fall. I'm going to take a look at this order. And this says, okay, it's a cat collar order. It became a QuickBooks sales order. Here's the line items. And what I want to do is, instead of entering the whole order from scratch, I just want to duplicate this order and send it over to QuickBooks, because I know that this is basically what they want, maybe with some different quantities. So I'm going to click on this down arrow. I'm just going to click copy. And now I have basically the entry screen. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to change this to my cat collar order, and I'm going to make this one a winter order. Oops. Okay, if I want to attach a purchase order number to it, I can. I'm just going to say this is verbal. The quote stage is, where do I want it to go in QuickBooks? So if I was just entering this for right now and it's not an approved order, I can say this is a draft order, or I can send it into QuickBooks as an estimate, directly as an invoice, as a sales order, or as a purchase order. So I'm going to make it a sales order. And by the way, these stages are defined by you guys. So if, just because it says draft, negotiation, delivered on hold, these are all things that you can define yourself. So we have the account name, it's Cafe Q. The address came in here. The shipping address came in over here. If we want to change the shipping address, we can. And then we come down to the line items down here, and we've got 4 litter boxes and 5 cat collars, right? So let's do this. Let's make the litter boxes, let's make 8 of them instead. Oops. How about 8? Okay. And let's make the unit price, whoops. Okay, whoops. And we'll have 10 of these. Okay, and we're going to make this price $10. Whoops, we're going to make, actually, let's see what we're going to do here. Our litter box will be $10. and our cat collar is going to be $12. So the total amount of our order is going to be $200. So basically, we've just entered in a new order that I copied from an existing order. Now I'm going to save this. Ooh, I love it when that happens. Normally it doesn't happen, but hey, we'll go with that. So we just saved our sales order, and our integration is running in the background. And as it's running in the background, it's sending that order over to QuickBooks. And so at this point, I'm going to make the presenter Melissa, so she can show you what happens after the order goes into QuickBooks. So Melissa, are you ready?
I'm ready.
All right. Here we go.
Thanks, David. Hopefully everyone can see this screen here. So now that the order has been brought into QuickBooks, we can take it from the StarShip side of things to ship that out. So you'll see here that you can enter in your order number, and you can also either browse for this order or scan it in. And I just wanted to note that we also work with invoices and sales orders also. So if you use another document type inside of QuickBooks, we can pull that also. On this panel right here, you get a quick view of what's going on with the shipment. You'll see the recipient address information. And down below is our packaging view. And these packages have come in based on some scenarios that I defined based on the items. So they've come over in 4 separate boxes. And you can see by clicking on the item information, you can see some information. So the nice part of StarShip is that it brings over header information such as the address info, ship via information, but we also have access to the line items. By bringing over the line items, that helps you automate your process, especially if it's going to an international address, because you do need some information on this order in order to create your international paperwork. So you'll see here some international data has flowed in, so we can automate that paperwork. And you'll also see that based on the inventory, we've brought over some weights on this. You can also use a scale. If you happen to have a scale attached to your StarShip, you can use that to automatically grab the weight. You can also manually put that in if you know the weight and don't have that flowing in. Since we already have all the information that's come off your QuickBooks sales order, all we have to do at this point, if you want to, is rate shop if you wanted to see if there was a different rate. What this has done is it's brought in UPS Standard Canada from my invoice. Otherwise, you can run a rate shop if you wanted to see the other carriers. You can sort by the charges or by the delivery date. Or we also have what's called ship via rules. That lets you create rules based on conditions that you define if you wanted to select a carrier based on the fastest way of getting it to your customer, or if you want to base it on their cost, we can automatically grab the cheapest cost for you. So for this example, I'm just going to leave it for the code that I brought over from your QuickBooks order. At this point, you can click F5 or Ship Process, this button up here. And what this is going to do is show us our carrier labels. What I'm showing you right here is actually our StarShip Smart Label. The nice part of this is it has both the carrier label and a packing list. So you'll see the items that have been on this package. You'll see the item description and how many are shipped on this particular box here. So this will print out for each of your packages. You can still print out a carrier label if you don't want to do something like this. We also have branded labels, so you can print out the carrier label plus your logo at the top. So this will print out one for each package, so we have 4 coming out. And since this is going to Canada, we use the line item information on the order to bring in that information. That way it helps you automate the shipping. You don't have to manually enter in this item information. This came over automatically for us, included some information like the description and the Schedule B code. It also contains information about the recipient, the value of the product, So this will print out so the driver can receive that also. And also at this point, your customers can get one of our branded emails. This could be an email that you send to the customer with your logo. It comes right from your email address, and we give you the ability to customize that to show information such as your logo. You can add different types of attachments, so they can also get the shipment pack list attached to their email. And a nice part of this also is they're able to see the items that are in the packages, again, based off on the line items that are in your order. They get that nice tracking number sent to them also. And then you can also put in information like social media links. If you have a Facebook or Twitter account, you can send links back to your social media accounts for them. Or you can throw in promotional information in here also. You're also able to define who gets these templates. So if you have certain types of customers that require certain information, you can create a template and based on those conditions get sent only to wholesaler customers or any EDI customers that you might want to send different information for. And also through our screen here, this is our dashboard that Caroline had mentioned during the initial presentation. This gives you access to different information such as shipment history. You can run metrics based on shipments by carrier, shipments by user, and you can also run reports like late delivery reports, and you can also check on how you're billing your customers with our freight reports. So let me quickly show you what we send back into QuickBooks. So we're able to send back a new line item that contains your shipping information. You can also send back the shipment cost. The shipment cost you can send back a few different ways. You can send back negotiated, you can send back list, or you can build off freight rules if you add a percentage on, or if you give free shipping based on certain circumstances, you're able to send back whatever rate that you want. And you're also able to define which tracking information goes there, what type of details go there. So for this particular instance, I sent over the weight of the package, how many days in transit it'll be, and then, of course, the tracking numbers per package. And then I believe at this point, we're going to turn this into an invoice. And then we'll be able to send that back into Sugar for that information through David's piece. So David, can I throw that back to you?
Yeah, you can.
Okay.
Great. So as I said, hopefully you guys can see my screen now. We're back at the Cafe Q account screen. And the integration runs in the background, and it's scheduled to run every 10 minutes. We speeded it up for purposes of this demo, but it's actually scheduled to sync every 10 minutes as the default. You can make it shorter or longer depending on what you want to do. And so if I were a sales rep or a customer service person and I wanted to see what was going on with that order or invoice, I can actually go into the transactions piece and I see, okay, there's transaction number 1182. Since I have that, and there's different ways to search for that, but let's assume we have the number. And again, it tells us the date of the sale, the due date, the total amount. And you notice the amount now is $280.92, which includes that freight. And it shows obviously that it's not paid yet. If I click on that invoice, it takes me to the invoice screen. And it gives me all the details about the invoice. So, the billing address, the ship to address, the sale date, when it's due, all that kind of stuff. And then down below, I have all the details. So I've got what was shipped, the cat collar and the litter box, and then I have all the shipping information. So it was shipped on November 17th with a ship weight of 20 with all the tracking numbers. And you can easily cut and paste the tracking numbers into a browser in the UPS window and get, the status of it and all that. So it's pretty cool. It brings the data right in from QuickBooks, and it's really valuable for customer service people who want to look up the status of an order without having to go into QuickBooks. You just bring up the customer and you can take a look at it here. The only other thing that I just wanted to show you briefly in terms of the integration, because this sort of completes the circle of the order in terms of customer management and shipment management, that kind of thing, is that you also get integration with your inventory in QuickBooks. So Sugar has a thing called a product catalog, and this just lists all the items that are in QuickBooks and in Sugar. And on this list, we've got the name of the item, how much is in stock, quantity on hand, you know, the cost, the price, and so on. And obviously, if you don't want the cost to show up in here, it doesn't have to show up in here. But you can see here's our cat collar, and there's 100 in stock, and this would have been, you know, after that latest invoice hit. So it was probably, you know, 110 of them in stock before we just sold the 10. And then here's the litter box again with only 50 of those. And so it's, you know, because it syncs every 10 minutes, it's virtually real-time data in Sugar. Your customer service and salespeople can look into the status of orders, inventory items. So if somebody wants to place an order and you want to see if something's in stock, you can just pull up the product catalog list and get a quick view of how much you have on hand. There's also the ability to see quantities on sales order, quantity on purchase order, and that kind of thing as well. But we've streamlined it, and we're just showing quantity on hand here today. So I think that completes the circle in terms of the transaction. And I think I can kick it back to Adrian for a wrap-up and to see if there's any questions or if there's anything else anybody wants to see. Adrian?
Thank you, David, Melissa, and Caroline. Hopefully you can hear me. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen with everybody's contact information. And as you can see, we have, hopefully you can see my screen now. We have all the contact information here. If you have any questions, please, we would just encourage you to reach out to either David or Melissa at V Technologies, David at Fay Business Systems Group. We do have several questions here, and I see that Caroline has been very busy. Thank you, Caroline, in answering some of these questions. But I'm going to go ahead and announce the questions just in case for the audience perspective, maybe they also have a similar question to these questions. And then we also do have some polls I'd like to ask the audience. So while we're announcing the questions, I'm going to go ahead and launch the polls. Are you interested in learning more about integrated shipping? If you could just take a second to answer that question, that would be great. Will StarShip work with SugarCRM version 6.5.14 Community Edition? So Dave, I think that this would be a good question for you to take.
Yes, it will. It'll work with Community Edition.
Okay, because you handle the SugarCRM integration, so StarShip would just talk with the QuickBooks. So your integration does work with the Community Edition.
Yeah, the only challenge with that is that the Community Edition doesn't have the quotes module. So you wouldn't necessarily be able to enter sales orders into Sugar and have them go into QuickBooks if you're using Community Edition. The other parts of the integration would work in terms of sales history, you know, bringing the invoices in, being able to see tracking numbers, all that stuff. That part would work in the integration, but as I said, there's no product catalog and there's no quotes in Sugar Community Edition. So those two pieces of the functionality wouldn't be available.
And then we have another question here. Does this work with the Sync Manager? If so, are steps being made to change due to discontinued support for Sync Manager?
So on the StarShip side, I just want to let you know we use the QuickBooks SDK to access and update the information to and from QuickBooks. And I'll let David speak to the Sugar piece.
It works with the web connector. So with the QuickBooks Web Connector, so I don't think that's the same thing as the Sync Manager. And so the Web Connector is still being supported for now. We have some new versions coming out in the future that are going to use some different technology to connect. But for now, it's using the Web Connector, which seems to be supported by Intuit for a little while.
And then we'll go ahead and share the results of the first poll. So you can see that 61% of you are interested in learning more. Thank you very much about integrated shipping. And then we're going to go ahead and hide the results of that poll, and then we're going to launch our last poll here. Are you interested in learning more about our QuickBooks SugarCRM integration? If you could go ahead and answer that poll, that would be great. And I will finish announcing these questions. The parts that integrate with QuickBooks seems that they both communicate in some fashion with QuickBooks. So that would be correct. David, Caroline, would you like to elaborate on that? I think we talked about the SDK.
Yeah, Adrian, I think that was just a follow-up. I had asked, if she was referring to StarShip or Sugar. So I think we're good
perfect.
there.
Okay. And then, thanks. I have a client that would be perfect for both if we can use the SDK. Thank you, Debbie, for that. We will get back in touch with you. Can the master tracking number be written to an independent field in Sugar and not display as a line item?
Yeah, we would have to, there'd be some workflow around that because it's a line item in QuickBooks. And so, we bring it in as a line item, but we've actually done work around that before with some other clients. So it's definitely something that can be done.
And David, so if we were able to put that into a different field in QuickBooks, would you be able to then pull that and use that as an individual field? Would that help too? Because we can do that.
Yeah, that would actually be a lot simpler because it's really based on where QuickBooks puts it. So yeah,
okay.
If you could do that, that would be great.
Okay.
And can you use sales receipts from SugarCRM and StarShip? Thank you, Mindy.
Well, if you recall looking at the sales history subpanel under that account that we looked at, it will show you any sales transactions that are in QuickBooks. So that includes sales receipts, invoices, sales orders, whatever you want to integrate. So yes, sales receipts would show up in Sugar.
And it looks like we are outgrowing QuickBooks and we'll be needing a new solution. Will this SugarCRM integration work with other ERP systems?
Yeah, we have integration with a number of different systems. So if you want to go to Sage 100, we have integration with that. If you want to go to NetSuite, we have integration with that. If you want to go to Intact, we have integration with that. So it really depends on your ERP requirements. But yes, we've integrated Sugar with quite a few different ERP solutions.
And then we have another question here. Thank you, John. You stated that you can write the master tracking number to a separate field in QuickBooks with StarShip. However, can this be done in ShipGear?
Hey, it's Melissa. In terms of ShipGear, you have two choices, a line item or the memo field.
Perfect. Hopefully that answers your question, John. And I'm not seeing any other questions. I'm going to go ahead and close this poll and share the results. It looks like 83% of you are interested in learning more about the QuickBooks SugarCRM integration. Thank you for answering that poll. I'm going to hide the results of this poll and just one last time show the contact information for both David and Melissa. We will be following up via email with this contact information and the recording. And we will be getting back in touch with you. Thank you so much for attending today. I know that an hour of your time is hard to come by, so it looks like we might be finishing up a little bit early. Does the presenters, do you have anything that you'd like to, any closing comments you'd like to close with?
I think we covered it pretty well. Obviously, if there's additional questions, feel free to reach out. And we just touched on, the main aspects of the integration from the Sugar standpoint, and we didn't really go into Sugar in general and all the cool stuff it can do, but naturally reach out if that's of interest.
And on the VTech side, we appreciate you taking the time to take a look at both solutions. And if you want to or are interested in a deeper dive on the StarShip side, feel free to reach out to Melissa. She can assist on that part.
All right, thank you everybody, and enjoy the rest of your day. We really appreciate you attending. Take care.
Thank you.
Thanks, Adrian.
Thanks, Adrian.
Bye-bye. No problem. My pleasure. Bye-bye.